Hi everyone. Every year around June time, I'm always asked the same question: when will FPL go live? And every year, the answer remains the same. Only the FPL developers, those in the know at FPL Towers, and those in the know at the Premier League well and truly know. But that isn't going to stop people asking the question. And does it even matter when the game will get launched? So what I'm going to do is have a look at whether it matters when the game gets launched. I'll look at past launches from 2016 and I'll look at what to expect before the launch takes place. I'll also look at clues in the public domain as to when the game could go live. And lastly, I'll give my own projection as to when I think the game will go live. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So first of all, does it really matter when the game goes live? So for the most part, many would assume it doesn't. But the reality is, if you know when the game goes live, you can register early and get a low ID. And even Fantasy Premier League acknowledges the importance of a low ID as well. As you can see on screen there, that if a Fantasy Premier League prize is at stake, it will go to the manager who was the first to register, i.e., the person with the lower entry ID. So, of course, it will be rare with it coming into play as a tiebreaker, but ultimately it does serve its purpose as a tiebreaker as well. Now, in terms of past launches, credit to FPL Fly for providing the dates and times for the past launches there from 2016 onwards. So, as we can see, the game has generally launched roughly a month before game week 1. Of course, there were a couple of exceptions where it was launched super early in 2019 at the end of June, and in 2021 it was released on the 22nd of June. But with the exception of those two anomalies, and also 2019, it's roughly been around a month before. And in terms of the actual launch times, that's fluctuated heavily. If we exclude the time from last year and 2018, it generally has launched by lunchtime. There may not be any significant patterns from what we can see on screen, but it certainly gives an idea as to how past launches have gone for Fantasy Premier League. Before the game goes live, there are certain things that you need to keep a lookout for. Some of those things have already happened. So roughly 2 weeks before the game goes live, you'll see a message that says that the FPL game is updating. And that message will also come up again a few days before the game goes live and actually on the day itself as well. So that message did appear for many FPL managers last week, and that could be an indication that the release may take place as early as next week. But also, more significantly, when you see price reveals from Fantasy Premier League, that's also an indication that the game is about to go live, potentially within the next 2 to 3 days. And here's an example of one price reveal from last year. So yeah, with those price reveals, essentially a teaser as to how much a certain player or a group of players will cost from certain teams. And that is normally taking place 48 to 72 hours before the game goes live. But what's more telling is information that's been made available in the public domain as well. So there was a message I saw on FPL Reddit whereby someone had noticed that Manchester United had mentioned that Fantasy Premier League players will be keen to know that the provisional launch of the popular game will be in the week commencing 3rd of July, which is plenty of time before the action gets underway. So messages like this have never been released by FPL when they give a rough indication as to when the game will go live. In fact, not just rough, a very precise indication of the week itself. So that is a very positive sign if it wasn't accidental, or even if it was accidental, that the game is due to launch fairly soon. Based on the information that I've shown with respect to past launches and this significant clue that was released last week, I'm going to come to my own projection as to when the game will go live. So to answer that question, it's very likely that FPL will get released during week commencing 3rd of July. And if you ask me for a very specific date, most likely the 4th or 5th of July. If you ask me to pick a time, because the majority of releases took place just before lunchtime, I'm going to say just before lunchtime. But like we saw from a few years back and also last year, it can happen late in the afternoon as well. But those are my parameters. Now, if that message from the United account was a complete error, then not a problem. I still think the game will get launched fairly imminently. So my absolute backstop revised release time will be the 12th of July. But if the indications are that we're getting price reveals on Monday morning, then I think it's very likely that by the middle of next week, the game will go live. So there you have it. I hope that answers the question. Whether it's important to know when the game goes live, understanding when past launches have happened, what to expect before a launch takes place, and also the clues that have already been given, as well as my own projection. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm in the right ballpark with respect to the launch time or if I'm completely wrong. Take care and all the best, everyone. Thank you. Bye.